Hello everyone, it's Marcia with the Frolicking Fairy. I will be doing a color along with water brush markers for Peace Craft Love. I grabbed this stamp set called Hearts Aplenty by Penny Black and went ahead and stamped all of the images onto watercolor cardstock and embossed them in clear. You can kind of see that sheen a bit. You could use any water brush marker. I will be using my Karin markers, but you could use any of them. I just scribble them, or even a watercolor pan, liquid watercolors. I just scribble it onto my Teflon bone folder because it's white. I can see the color better. And I went ahead and prepped some bases for my projects. I just wanted to show those to you on video. I used the Prima Marketing. It was a double-sided cardstock 12 by 12 sheet called Amelia Rose with a rose gold foiled dotty. That's what it's called in the themed category on the website, peacecraftlove.com. It's in our Maker Squad theme for self-care, self-love. I actually really loved this paper. The picture on the website does not do it justice. It's got this beautiful, it's almost like a coppery gold. I don't know if you can see it. It's way more beautiful in person, and I love the grid style that's on the back. You can see it here. So I really thought it was pretty both sides, and I used the entire 12 by 12 sheet. There were probably little pieces left that I could have saved to use for banner tags or something, but I wasn't gonna be that nitpicky. So I created this luggage tag from the paper. I cut both layers from that. This is a double pocket embellishment piece. I guess you could always just send this as is, like a loaded pocket sort of thing. This is the other pattern print on the back. I went ahead and matted a square card using that gold foiled paper from, is it Hunky Dory? It's the Miri Gold on our website. I'll be sure to link everything on my blog. So I went ahead and cut and matted this. I had a piece of the paper that perfectly fit with I think this is a 1/16 of an inch border around for just a standard fold card. And then I shared this previously for another team, but I was able to get this larger Rolodex card all cut from that 12 by 12 paper. And you see there again, that's the back of that. So without further ado, let's work on quickly watercoloring these critters. I really do prefer watercolor when I'm doing little animals. I think it just matches their personality, if you will, if that makes any sense. I love how light the colors look. I think it just really lends very nicely for your little creatures. So I've got my paintbrushes here. Let's see, I picked these up if anybody asks. I have a number 2 and a number 4. They're white sable brushes from Robert Simmons. And I've got my water cup, my rag, and I think I'm going to get my coffee drink with Dwight because I love Dwight Schrute. Schrute Farms. All right. So I will point out one thing that's nice about Penny Black. They have a color reference on the back. I don't know if this is helpful for some of you, but I really do allow this to help me sometimes with my colors or help with the shadows. There's no shame in using things like that as a guide. Stamping Bella does that too. They'll have a colored graphic in their stamp packaging. Definitely use those. You know, they've had somebody work out some of those details. Take advantage of that. So I'm gonna use this as well to help with some of that. And it helps you pick your colors too. So we might not work through all of these, but I'll at least get through a couple of them. So for the kitty cat, because I love to paint calicos, because I have a big, chunky, stinky calico kitty cat. She will be, let's see, 12, I think, this March. I love to do calicos. So let me pick some colors for her. I'm gonna get, let's see, this is the natural gray. I'm looking for a darker warm gray. And I'm just gonna scribble my colors here and then lay them off to the side so I don't mix up which colors I chose. Let me grab an orange. So this first one I got was warm gray 3. This one is amber 195, if you're also using Karin markers. And then I'm gonna get a lighter warm gray. So I'm gonna get warm gray 1. Ooh, for some shadow colors. And a little bit of pink. So the pink I like to use, there's a couple pinks. We'll go with, I don't know if that's gonna be too bright. Maybe we'll try rose pink, which is 168, and I'll put that here off to the edge. Okay, there's obviously a million ways that you can do watercolor. Everybody's got a different method. This is just what works for me. And sometimes it works better than others. I'll start with this pink. I just loaded my brush with water. I'm just gonna dab it in here. All the papers work differently too. This happens to be Spectrum Noir watercolor paper. I love that sometimes, you know, watercolor will kind of pool like that, and then when it dries, it leaves a really cool effect. So we're gonna see if that will happen. If not, I'm gonna go back and add some more color to that. Okay, so I'm gonna try to stay away from these wetter areas so I don't jack those up. Now let's move on to adding some of this calico coloring to this kitty cat. And I think one thing that is fun about watercolor in particular, especially on critters, is you don't have to have perfect application of color. You know, like with people, it's a little more complicated. But I find with critters, sometimes it's just best to leave your color more organic in nature. I'm just thinking about how my cat Eva has these blocks of color. I'm gonna grab my black actually. I'm gonna pull that right in here beside it. Ooh boy. Very pretty. And since I kind of have some wet there, hopefully that'll be okay. If you see there are some people that are way more particular about some of this, but I really like the feel of letting it kind of pool, you know, utilizing the properties of what makes watercolor watercolor. So I definitely need more orange. I'm just gonna pull more of that out. Here, I'm gonna deepen it there, pull up some of that drifted. I know my calico isn't a tortoiseshell, so she's got her color just on her back, not across her belly. I'm just using that lighter gray because I want to kind of define a bit of the head here if I can, without pulling too much of that. Add some shadow under here if it plays nicely. And then I'm gonna use this to define the belly a bit. Just shadow on the side. And you see I'm not trying to be super particular here. And I think it works well. I mean, but that's just, again, this is just how I choose to do it. So you might like a different style. I'm just pulling some of that darker gray in the black. I'm gonna define some of that a little bit because they give you some of those lines there. You see me jumping back and forth to my rinse cup. Grab a bit more here to pull that shadow just a bit more here. And as long as you're working with it while it's wet, you've got more freedom there. So I'm pretty happy with the way this one looks. Okay. Oh, I didn't add any orange to the tail. Let's do that really quickly. I'm surprised the cat isn't trying to come jump on my lap right now. I'm sitting in the spot that she usually does that. Okay. So anyways, I'm pleased with that Let me darken a little bit here. I say that and then I grab more color. And if you were so inclined, you could darken just across the tippy of the nose a little bit. Like that. Soften that line. Let's see if I can wipe this away just a bit. Right under the lip. Oops. Apparently had other color on my finger. So anyways, and see, I'm really bad about this. I will smudge it with my hand across. So if you're like me, don't do that. Have your individual images you're working with set aside. All right, so to add a bit more red to some of these hearts, I'm just going to grab, well, red 209. I'll scribble over here. I'm gonna leave these here because I'll use some of these colors again. I'll grab that, we'll add some red to this one. So when you see me, I don't know if you can see my dip cup over here off to the side, and I've got my dirty rag that I always have around. I rinse and then dip some of the water off to the side. I'm just gonna kind of deepen this pink up just a little bit here, I think. And I think I'm happy with how this kitty cat turned out. That's beautiful, good job. My daughters are coloring with their alcohol markers. She's using a digital. Do you want me to show them really quick? Mm-hmm. So my youngest, Lily, colored this one. This is a digi from Sweet November Stamps. Thank you very much for showing me. I love it. Okay, so we'll color one more then. How about that? We'll do this little mouse over here. And I'm just gonna use some of these grays I already have. So it's like, or maybe we should do a brown little field mice like this one. Field mouse. Let me find a good one. Let's try this henna. Got a free space here. Usually I'll try to just wipe it off, but we'll work with what we've got here. I'm gonna grab this pink again. I'm gonna put this inside his precious little ear, tippy of his nose, and mice do have pink little tails, and I think they have pink little feet. Yep, they used pinkies on his little feet too. Hands and feet. I know this pink is a little bright, but I think I like it. I'm just pulling off some of that with my brush. See if I can darken it just a little bit more at the bottom. Okay, now one thing that is fun that you'll see some people do, they'll apply water first to an area to help the color feather out better. So we can try that and see if you like that technique as well. Now you could do marker right to paper. I find that that doesn't always work as well with some markers. I haven't had as great success with that with the Karin markers unless you apply, put your water with your brush on it very quickly. Otherwise you get very distinct marker lines, which to me just doesn't look as pretty. So while this seems like an extra step to scribble and then pick up, to me, I think it just works better. I'm just gonna try to dot the color on to kind of give more texture. Dab some of that color off with just a damper brush to kind of soften it a bit here across his precious little face. Gonna pull some of that color out here. And then with a much wetter brush and very little color, I wanna come soften right here at his belly. Now you could use a different color there, but I've got this one, and as you see, I think it works just fine. because depending on how much ink you pick up and how much water you have on your brush, you really do have quite a lot of variation in your color. Okay, so I just want to add a bit more. And you see I'm just really using this one brown. I'm going to pull just a bit more here onto his hand. I think he's so cute. He looks so eager to share his little present too, doesn't he? Okay, so I've got some gray over here. We'll utilize this again. I'm gonna wet it up quite a bit because I don't want it to be too dark, but we're gonna use this to kind of shadow the package. And if you look at the packaging here, it's darker across this side, under the lip of the package lid, and then on this side. I want my box to be white, so that's why I'm using a gray to add that shadow. Now I don't want to add color to the hearts just yet because that will just bleed everything everywhere. So let's go to the bow. I am going to wipe this off since I'm running out of space. Sometimes I'll spray it. I keep a little spray bottle beside me, but I'll just dab some water on there and wipe my palette off, my bone folder off. So hopefully this will show you that I am no pro at this at all, but you can still have fun. And I hope it kind of takes some of the dauntingness out of it if you've been nervous to try watercoloring like this. So I'm going to start on this end because I'm sure this is not dry yet. Color in there. I don't care if it goes all the way to the edge. I think that's the beauty of watercolor as well. Let's see. Amalia, don't you touch that, please. And then I should probably use my smaller brush, but I just loaded this one with some color. So we're gonna just be very careful. And pull this way. I don't know if that's color there or not, but we'll throw some there. Did you get it on me?
It's just my hand doing this.
Ah, okay.
Doing this.
I can't look right now. Yep, let's not do that again. I don't want you to do it.
Just my hand.
Okay. My daughter is trying to show me that she can open her marker, a watercolor marker, without actually drawing on my jacket, which it feels like that's what she was trying to do. Okay, since I still got some red here, I'll add that there.
2 o'clock, actually it's 2:01.
All right, well, I hope you've enjoyed this. I've done a couple little images for you guys. I'll work on the rest and finish popping them on my prepared bases here using that Prima Marketing paper. I hope you guys have a beautiful, happy Valentine's Day, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.